sorry, that should be you, Matt. Sorry, taking control. And Frankie, I'll make you a co-host as well, if that's okay. So you can unmute yourself. And the meeting is now yours, Frankie.
Thank you, Paul. Did we get to hear from Xavier at all?
No, he hasn't.
I hope he's all right.
So do I, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
This really is impromptu, guys. This is aimed generally for someone who's very early in the program, hasn't been ran before, or has been ran before and has struggled. Oh, you made me admit, let Liz in. So it's just popped up. Right. Yeah, so everything's going to be, it's not planned. We've just done these before. And we have a rough outline of what we do and how we do it. And you have to excuse me, I've got a consequence of my illness. I have COPD and lung disease. Mainly, I think, through smoking fags, but I'm sure crack must have helped as well as being on the gear for 27 years. And 2 decades of drinking methadone. And please understand, in NA, we're not interested in what or how much you used, who your connections were, what you've done in the past, blah, blah, blah. But if you're new, the process of identification comes from not just desperation. Sometimes I want to know. Sometimes I want to know if you know what it's really like. So I'm going to just share. Your experience may be different to mine, but I'm just going to share how I came to NA and how I came about getting an understanding of the program. I came to NA in 1992, and I basically came because someone said to me I needed to go. And that person who told me I needed to go at the time was a prison officer in Wandsworth Prison. And I went to NA, and the people used to visit used to give you tobacco. So I was sold. Anyone who gave me free anything, I was sold. You know, I wanted free drugs, free anything. I'd really lost a lot before I got to NA. I'd lost the family, I'd lost the business, I'd lost the house. But in reflection with my step work, I realized I'd been acting as a drug addict with the disease of addiction. And I separate the two as someone who was chemically addicted with the disease of addiction for many years. I went to the doctor, and the doctor always gave me more drugs to get off drugs. And when I finally got released from my 8-month sentence that I had, which I was in for a technicality for a robbery, which should have been 8 years. I didn't come out for 2 years because I kept getting urine screened, and my release date kept getting put further and further away from me. And somehow I managed to not spend any canteen money, beg or borrow any money, earn any money cutting people's hair and doing sweeping on the landing, and not buy anything, get a clean urine screen for 3 months, and get out of this time I was being ghosted to 3 different prisons, get out of High Point prison where I was released. And when I was released in 1994, after attending NA meetings, and I'd heard one is too many affairs and never enough in many of the meetings I went to, I went and got myself a can of Tennent's. It made perfect sense to me. I've been in jail for 2 years. Why wouldn't someone go and get a fucking can of Tennent's? It's only 1 can of Tennent's. And yeah, for the next 8 years, I attended NA and couldn't get any more than 30 days or 60 days clean time, kept picking up. And it got to a place in 2003 where I realized I had to do whatever was necessary for my recovery. Talking in meetings, I realized that a lot of people liked what I said, and I was quite good sharing in meetings, but I didn't have recovery. I didn't understand recovery. I was a good quoter. I could quote things, and I'd been using for a while, and I had some understanding, because in that 10 years, don't get me wrong, I had sponsors and done step work and gone through the steps. And part of the understanding, and in that 10 years as well, I just want to chuck this out there as well to the Jericho boys and the Jericho girls, and I'm not sure if there's any other treatment centers. I can't see any of them here, but I just want to point out, just to let you guys know where I'm at, and that's why I'm sharing this. It's not from ego, seriously. Be a bit stupid to say, oh, I was on the gear for 27 years. I think that's not really a good CV, to be honest. I went to treatment 8 times as well, so you can see the level of the sort of idiot and powerlessness that I was. Someone who always took back control. I always used to be good in treatment. I always got my therapeutic duties done, and I always become house leader. But the minute I got outside, fucked. The minute I got outside, all bets were off. So, right. So hopefully, if anyone wants to ask me anything on that later on, we'll do a question and answer. And yeah, I think I've covered all points. I came to NA, my clean time date. It's really important to have a clean time date, I feel. If you don't want a clean time date, no one cares. Okay, you'll hear I'm slightly a different sharer. I'm a NA monkey. I've been here a long time. If you've got a clean time date, you've got something to reference on. And my clean time date is the 15th of May, 2003. And I have that date, and I've always had that date. I have the 17th of March, because like any addict I've met as well has other clean time dates. I have the 17th of March for when I stopped drinking alcohol. That was quite a big one for me, stopping drinking alcohol. I always used to bruise myself drinking. Well, I think I bruised myself, but you know, I had these other dates as well. I managed to stop certain things at different times, but for total abstinence was the 15th of May 2003. And then in November 2004, I managed to stop smoking cigarettes. I mean, that was because I fucking had to. I had to. It wasn't a point of I'm going to be really cool and show off like some addicts that were around me who stopped drinking coffee and having sugar. I had to stop smoking cigarettes because I couldn't breathe. If you know the humiliation of pulling out a Super King's menthol and offering a newcomer a Super King's menthol, and they go, no, it's all right, I'll have a roll up. The shame that's involved in that. It's like, I had to stop smoking, seriously. So, okay, that's a bit about me. Feel free to ask me questions later on. I have no secrets, and if I do, I'll just make it up. Okay, so are we okay there, Paul?
We're good. We're good.
Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to do some questions, because this has been extended now Xavier's not here. So we're going to have some questions. And first off, let's just kick it off. There's no wrong answers. We just want to hear what your opinions, thoughts, whatever. None of us are worried. You don't have to get it right. See, if you share something and you're learning and it might not be quite right, what happens with the other addicts in the meeting is their heads do the answer. Their heads do the thinking. I don't know if you guys do that. When you're in a meeting, you hear someone talking like me, your head's going, fucking hell, he's going on a bit. Wish he'd shut up. You know, it's all that kind of stuff going on. We have a dialogue going. It's natural. It must be really difficult for people who come to an English speaking meeting who English isn't their first language. So I feel you, Stefan. I feel you. I get it. So the first question we're going to have, let's aim this at the Jericho girls and the Jericho boys and have 3 of each. Just to kick off, we'll have, in what is a narcotics program, this is a program of complete abstinence from all drugs. Why? That's the question. This is a program of complete abstinence from all drugs.
Would anyone like to, from Jericho, either boys or girls, like to come in and give their thoughts on that? Why is it? Here we go. Someone's coming in from Jericho Girls. Why is it essential that this program, the foundation almost, is the complete abstinence from all drugs?
So to that, I would say that it's essential for to have complete abstinence from all drugs, because something that sticks out to me is that, see the way NA describes alcohol as being a drug. Well, it doesn't matter what substance you take. For me, I identify myself as having what I call the Jekyll in my head and a whirlpool here. So it doesn't matter what triggers it. If that gets triggered back into motion, then I'm in my sickness. So that is why it's essential that there's abstinence from all drugs.
Nice.
Does that make sense?
It does. Does anyone else want to come in and give us your...
Hiya. I think it's important to be abstinent from all drugs to get a clear connection with my higher power, because if I'm using and drinking, my mind's warped. I do things that I don't normally do and stuff like that. So to be abstinent, it gives me a chance to start working the program with a clear head and get a connection with God. Thank you. And
is there one more? Or is that, do we want to take a pause there, Frankie? Do you want to feedback on any of that?
Hiya, I'm Fiona. Hi.
Hey, Fiona.
I think that's true what Leanne said. If you're using, you're still in all that stuff and you can't listen properly, even it takes a wee while. Even when you're clean, it takes a wee while even listen and take stuff in. So when you're using any drug, it doesn't matter what it is, your mind's still polluted with all that disease thinking. You're definitely in it, so you can't listen, you can't take anything in.
Thank you, Fiona. Thanks, girls.
Do you want to do a couple more who maybe, whether it's Jericho boys or whether it's someone from the meeting?
Guys, stick up your... There's Margaret. Okay, great, Margaret. And Scotty.
I just wanted to add that I agree with what everybody said so far, but I was thinking that the drugs were masking a lot of things for us. They were squashing stuff down. So I don't see how you could access your real feelings and what's going on underneath everything, and find out what's really going on in your head if you're still taking something that affects you in that way.
Sorry, Margaret, I was muted there. Thank you, Margaret. And Scotty.
Aye, thanks, Paul. I'm Scotty. I'm an addict. I think that you should be abstinent, for all drugs, because the minute you start taking one drug, you've got to take another drug anyway. And the disease in your head's got to tell you that it's all right to take another drug because you've just took that one. So I think you should be abstinent for all drugs.
Thank you, Scotty.
Okay. Should we go into this before we lose the thread of it?
Yeah. Let's take a pause there, guys.
Right, okay, this is a program of complete abstinence from all drugs. My understanding, okay, is that it's a mental and physical program. Okay, people say it's also spiritual. The book says it's spiritual. But if we just start with the most basic, simplest of stuff, it's mental and physical. Now, everyone talks about the head, but if we look at the bottom of page 5 in Who is an Addict on the basic text, it says right down the bottom of here, it says, our reactions to drugs is what makes us an addict, not how much we use. I like Scotty's analogy. I'm in line with him, mate, there, because one is too many is 1,000, never enough. I have a physical reaction to when I take drugs. Okay, sometimes it's a slow burner, but I can always predict the same thing. Guys, tonight, try and reflect on something that you can absolutely guarantee happens when you use. If you can absolutely guarantee, I'll give you my one, because this isn't about who's being clever. My one is when I use, what follows very quickly is not only compulsion to get more, I also become a liar. I lie to me, but I compulsively lie to other people. I can absolutely guarantee it. Every single, you know, it's not until 30 days later I'm outside crack converters trying to get rid of my phone. That's later, but straight away, you know, so it's a physical reaction that we have. That's why our bodies don't know the difference between drugs that are prescribed from the doctor to street drugs. Our bodies just get drugs. They don't know the difference between class A's, you know, and class C's. So if you're in here and you happen to have been taking party drugs, or you're in here because you smoked a lot of cannabis, you're really lucky you haven't been sticking things up your bum and needles in your neck. You know, you did what you did to get here. You've had a result. I wish I'd have been like that. You know, I wouldn't have so much bloody DVTs, you know, so yeah, that's kind of the first one. Is everyone cool with that? Does anyone, can we have one or two people if they want to add something to that?
Yeah, maybe something along the lines of what do we start doing immediately?
Yeah.
After we start.
What can you guarantee you do after you pick up?
Go to Jericho Boys. And then Sandy, put your
I'm on the spot. Go on. Jericho Boys, come on.
Here's Danny. Hey, Danny.
All right, I'm Danny, I'm an addict. Thanks, guys, for this type of meeting. My experience has been every time that I smoke crack, I go straight into a crack psychosis. Even if I had periods of time off it, the minute I take that first pipe and I blow it out, I'm straight into crack psychosis, and every single penny to my name is getting blown. There's no stopping me, and then my ways and means kick in every single time. Cheers.
Cheers, Danny. You want to take another from your end? Are you someone else?
All right, Paul, I'm an addict. My name's Billy.
Hey, Billy.
What I automatically do as soon as I pick up, right away, I start hiding it. I start keeping secrets, and then that leads to one drug to another. Then people notice it, but I'm still in denial. I automatically get into denial right away. I deny it myself. Right, I'll take one, and I'll only take one. So that's the denial kicked in right away, because I'm going to just start taking more, obviously. I've probably already ordered one by the time I fucking finished that first one. The compulsion starts, the obsession starts. Automatically, that's me right back in it. It probably would take an hour, and I'm right back in it. I'm right in it again where I started from, where I finished off, sorry, before coming into recovery. So it's vital. Don't pick that first one up, because as soon as you just get right in to where your active addiction ended. As soon as you pick up that first one, I'm right back in.
Nice one, Billy. Brilliant. Thank you very much. Shall we go to Leon?
Hi, cheers, Paul. And Frankie identified with your one, mate. Lying. The minute I pick up, I start becoming a liar. And the stress of having to keep that one lie, that probably has me using again. And before I know it, I'm constantly using and living in total lies. And I'm lying to every single person in my life. And I don't want to, but I just become devious, manipulative, and a complete liar. And I don't recognise that person when I'm clean. So that's what happens to me. If I pick up that first drug, lies start for day dot.
Thank you, Leon.
Thank you, Leon. Can I just ask, did anybody not identify? Did anyone not identify with Danny? You know, did anyone not identify with Leon? You know, because it's a process of identification in these meetings. I can identify with what all the guys have shared. On one level, I have done all of that madness, all that madness, you know, so that's part of the process of, you know, identification, you know, and okay. In the reading of what is the Narcotics Anonymous program, or what is the NA program, it says, and we'll re-quote it again, it's like, we're not interested in what or how much you're used or who your connections were, what you've done in the past, how much you or how little you have, but only in what you want to do about your problem and how we can help. Can we have three people answering that, Paul, on why would NA say that? And I'll say it again, just in case you guys are not fresh with it. We're not interested in what or how much you used, who your connections were, what you have done in the past, how much or how little you have, but only in what you want to do about your problem and how we can help. Why does NA do that? Why are we not interested in the cake addiction?
Sandy, you want to come in?
Okay, sure. Yeah, totally identify what everybody's shared so far. Thanks, group members, for making the meeting possible, and Frankie for your topic. I mean, the thread I was on was like how what I learned was how relapse starts before I actually pick up the first drug, and knowing that if I do pick up that one, regardless of the substance, I start fooling myself in my own voice in my head that it's controlled using, and it's like somebody else said, deception. And you know, I believe the reason that we're not interested in what you use is because it's more it's treating the cause, not the substance that we use to relieve ourselves from the cause, you know, the effect, you know. So yeah, I mean, somebody else had just really said what I was talking about, the denial, you know, but like I said, it speaks to me in my own voice. And therefore, you know, it doesn't, regardless of what takes you to your bottom, when you hit that internal, you know, bottom, that's really when you feel like you start to lose faith, you know, and that's a disconnection, you know. But yeah, I don't want to waffle on, but a lot of people have just covered what I want to say as well, you know. But
brilliant, Sandy. Come back in. Definitely come back in. Okay, so we're going to go to Joanne on the why does NA say that? We don't care about how much you used, only what you want to do about your problem and how we can help.
I've always had, when I came into NA, I struggled with resentments because I used to think, well, I haven't been to jail, I haven't been in institutions, I've never crashed my car, I've never done any of that, you know. So that similarities, not differences, and how much you used and all of that, I can really identify with that, because I went in thinking, I don't belong here, this is not me, I've not done any of that, and so on. Having done all of that pretty much, apart from near death, I then have equally struggled when I hear people say they've only smoked a little bit of cannabis and they're in the meetings, and I have to check myself, you know, and go, Joanne, shut up. Everybody's in here for a reason, for the same thing. So that bit for me is I have to constantly check myself and read that, because I could get a resentment over a share when I hear somebody say, well, I had a bad day because I had a flat tire on my car. And if I'm in resentment over things that I've done in the past, or let's say I don't have a driving license or whatever, I think, well, at least you have a fucking car, mate. And I can follow that, you know, and I have to understand that everybody is equal. You know, every single person is equal. So that's how I feel about it.
Thanks, Joanne. That's great. Thank you very much. Keep going, Frankie. Should we bring Chris in?
Yes, please.
Chris?
Hi, Chris, Addict. Frankie, this is a brilliant format you've got going here tonight. Get a lot of information. So fantastic. We do not care about who, what, how much you've used, how much, only in what you want to do about your problem and how we can help. Because in NA, that is all we can concern ourselves with. What you want to do and how we can help. All that stuff for the past that got you through the door, there's nothing we can do about that now. We can look at it, we can see our parts in it, we can make amends and try and heal some hurt. But as far as what, how much, who, how little, how, there's nothing we can do about that. There is nothing we can do about that. What's done is done. Yeah, so it's only on what you want to do and how we can help. It's all we can concern ourselves with. I think that's why.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks,
Chris. That's brilliant. Look, we're working a we program, yeah? There's only one step that doesn't say we. Okay, all the others at the beginning of the step, it says we. When you go to the conventions, everyone goes, we, don't they, when they're calling the steps out. We'll make a bit of fun with it. You know, it's a we program. We want to include everyone. We want to include Matt. We want to include Leon. We want to include everyone. We're all in this together. It's not, oh, I've got a sponsorship family and they've been around for 3 million years. It's none of that bollocks. We all help each other. That's the whole point of being here. We're a load of extremely talented, intelligent lunatics, and we're all in the same club. And that's why people don't stay around with us. That's why we find certain things funny when other people don't. So we don't want to exclude anyone. And what can happen is you can get a heroin addict like me, who in my using, I will look, because it's not about the drug, is it? It's about the disease of addiction. It's not about the drug. And in my using, I can look down on the alcoholics. I can go, fucking alcoholics hanging out, you know, and it's vice versa, you know. The crack addicts, you know, they can think, you know, the only person that's any relation to them is God. You know, it's like, and, you know, it's very, very difficult, all of this, when we start adding drugs into it. I've done sponsorship with people who only smoke cannabis. I can honestly say they're the most difficult people to ever do sponsorship with. You ask a cannabis smoker a question and they're very philosophical. They're not black and white like the heroin addict, have you got it or ain't ya? You know, so it's that we program, we're all inclusive. We all have to support each other and we all have experience and everything's valid. And I really liked what the lady said earlier, the girl who shared, sorry, my attention deficit.
Joanne,
I really love what Joanne shared earlier. I thought that was really, really cool because I don't think I could say it better myself, you know. Should we move on to another question or should we...
Yeah, do that. Keep your hands up, guys. Those that have got your hands up, we'll bring you in on the next question.
Right. See, the next one after that, which I'm going to turn into a question, is after we've said about we're not interested in how much you use, who your connections you were, what you've done in the past, how much or how little you have, but only want what you want to do about your problem and how we can help. The next question to ask is, it says, the newcomer is... the newcomer is the most important person in any meeting. It gives you the answer afterwards, but come on, can we have 3 people to tell us why the newcomer is the most important person in any meeting?
Scotty?
Okay, well, I'm 3 months clean, so I take, well, sorry, 6 months, but 3 months in NA, so I take it I'm a newcomer. I think that I like to talk in front of newcomers because what I've got to say helps them. And even though I'm only 3 months into NA, I've been told that when I'm doing a share, what I say and the things that I bring up in a share helps them and it shows them. And even for me, being a newcomer and listening to people that have got lots of clean time or hardly any clean time, they've still got the same addiction as me, the same disease as me. And it helps me that I can become clean. I don't know if that's right, but it's not a right or right question. That's how I feel.
Well, Scotty, if you think you're a newcomer with 3 months compared to a person who can't get 1 day clean, you're a god. You're a fucking god, mate.
Cheers, pal.
I was wondering about that, Frankie, as Scotty was saying that, because a lot of people wonder about that kind of invisible line of when you're a newcomer and when you stop being a newcomer. Have you got any thoughts on that?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Yeah, when I was a newcomer, I had to wear mittens when I went to bed. I couldn't touch myself.
Right.
I'm sure all the men in the meeting can identify unless they've forgotten.
Okay, right.
Something weird happens when you get clean around your sexuality, doesn't it?
Everyone's laughing. Everyone's identifying.
Yeah, be careful you don't laugh. Laughing's identification.
Okay, so Jericho boys. Why are the newcomers the most important people at any meeting? Martin.
I'll come in quickly, Paul. My name's Martin.
Hey, Martin.
For me, newcomers are probably the most vulnerable persons to come into the room, probably need the most help and attention. And for me, I can only keep what I've learned by giving it away. So that's why they deserve more of my time than probably anybody else. That's so important, vitally important to speak to them and let them know they've got help and support there. So that's why I was saying it. One of the other boys come in, Paul?
Of course, yeah.
All right, Paul. Billy, Addict.
Hey, Billy.
And newcomer, most important person at any meeting because, well, I was a newcomer. I've been here 8 months, but I struggled at first. And it was identification that helped me, that made me want it better, that made me realise that I wasn't at so when the newcomer comes into the rooms, obviously they're confused and they don't know what they want to do, they're quiet, they're scared. So that identification will bring them out their shell. And it just shows me that more people want it. So if I can talk to them and make them want it just by giving them my story and they identify with it, then I'm not going to stop doing it. It's as simple as that. So they're the most important person because they need the most, they need help as much as we do, but they need it a wee bit more. So
brilliant. Thank you so much, Billy. Good to hear from you guys. Can we just bring in, because Dexter's had his hand up a few times. Dexter from the Bermuda Triangle, in you come.
Yes, good. Hi, family. My name is Dexter Fanatic. I enjoy this meeting here so much. You guys are so in depth and well in tune. This is awesome. What it says, how we are not interested in how much you use, who your connections were, and all that, what you have done in the past, how much or how little you have, and what you want to do about your problem, and how we can help. My thinking was that the rationalization, because I'm a self-centered, my disease is self-centered. You're now asking me to rationalize what is my most sane thinking towards my outlook of life and what's been really going on. You know what I mean? The saying says to me that I cannot do this by myself. The newcomer is the most important person because he's reminding me, he's showing me that it shows me that I can rationalize what is right and what is wrong, what I would and would not do for myself. So listening to others, that's what's happening. I'm saying to myself, wow, that's supposed to happen, or yes, you're supposed to feel that pain, or, but it is a reprogram. And I constantly need that help in rationalizing. So each one teach one. That's how I see it. It's reminding me of the pain and reminding me of my story.
Great, Dexter. Thank you so much for sharing that. And Frankie, we've had Leon and Chris. Keep your hands up, guys, but can I bring in Stefan? Because I'd like to hear your perspective, Stefan.
Hi, guys. I'm Stefan. I'm an addict.
Stefan.
Well, I was about to make a joke, but I will not.
Do it. Do it.
Do it.
I'm the most important person in the meeting.
Of course.
Yeah.
That's my usual state. That's how I come every day. But when I meet someone that's just new or struggling, and if I identify with him when he shares, it connects me to my disease and it brings me back to I'm never going to be cured. And if I don't come to meetings, I might as well become that guy again. And also, I was so well welcomed when I arrived. I was welcomed, and everybody here or in the meeting changed my life, gave my life back. And I have a great life today. I'm unemployed and I just had COVID and stuff, I have problems. but my life is great. And thanks to Narcotic Anonymous and this principle of welcoming the newcomer saved me. And my children didn't go to my funeral so far. And it's great. And it's great. It's lovely to give that to your children, not to bring them to your funeral. So yeah, to me it's all about the newcomer and give back also what I had is a principle of the chain that we have together and give back. I mean, it's fucking scary when you come into into a room for the first time, and so you might as well welcome the people, you know, because they deserve to live just like us. Oh, it was so spiritual.
Thank you,
Thanks, Stefan.
Frankie.
Yeah, it's just for me, I'm 18 years clean. Okay, I've been coming for 28 years. I've learned one thing in NA which is really important, and that is I can't rely on my memory. It's true what they say about cannabis and taking drugs. It fucks up your memory. I'm living proof of it. Now, I have to have something substantial. I can't rely on my memory. So when I'm in a meeting at 18 years clean, I can't always remember. And that guy who comes in, who's the newcomer, who's coming off spice and monkey dust, who's shaking himself to death, you know, you've seen people in meetings, they're sitting there, their fucking leg won't stop shaking. I forget I was like that. I forget. I've got a built-in forgetter. I forget sitting there and procrastinating and saying, I think it's like. I forget all of that. I need the new people. I need the new people. Because honestly, I'll say it because a lot of the other people won't say it. At 18 years clean, my ego and my arrogance grows. I think I understand this shit. And I forget. When we've got new people, that's why I always say, if you're looking for a sponsor, try and get someone who's 2 years clean, who's done the program. They're normally on fire. They're normally on fire because it's all they've thought about is recovery, recovery, recovery. When you get someone like me, everything gets drawn out. So I need the new people. And the next question we're going to go on to is the bit which comes after that. Why is it that, you know, it says the newcomer is the most important person at any meeting because, and you can see in my book here, I've highlighted it in pink and underlined it in black because I have to remind myself by reading, because we can only keep what we have by giving it away. Now, I'll quickly share mine so you guys can share your experience. If I want to teach somebody something, if I teach someone how to do art, or if I teach someone how to lay bricks, I relearn myself. If I show a sponsee recovery, I relearn about recovery, because if I don't, I'll forget it. I'll forget it. So I have to work with new people so I remember how to do this stuff. Otherwise, I end up being Mr. Know-it-all, you know? So normally at this point, I see some older members leaving the meeting, but at the moment they haven't. So great. Paul, pick 3 people, please.
Okay, so the question, why do we keep what we have by giving it away? Is that what we're asking?
Yeah, what's the point of that?
Okay,
what's the point of that? Keep what we have by giving it away. Doesn't make sense.
Sabu, then I'll bring in Leon, then I'll bring in Chris. Over to you, Sabu. We're going to Durban.
Ooh, wow. The name is When I'm a Grateful Recovering Addict. I thought I was just going to pop in and out after I heard the formats, but hey, I'm glued. I love it. Thank you very much, Frankie. Thanks, Paul, for chairing such a powerful meeting. I mean, this is mind-blowing for me. I love the newcomers because I'm in a foundation phase myself, just over two years and 4 months and 20-something days. But the point I want to get to is the newcomer is the most important person because you can only keep what you have by giving it away. I've seen it through myself. I've just had a newcomer. I gave a newcomer like in December, I left, and he asked me the very same question. And I thought, wow, Why are you asking me that? The only way I keep what I have, basically what you shared, Frank, is exactly what it is. It allows me the opportunity to be of service. And while I'm being of service, what I'm doing is, because my sponsor told me earlier on, Smooth, this is a disease of forgetfulness. Look, I forget how bad it was. I really do. And the fact that I'm in this meeting, it's me reminding myself, and I get to keep, because what I tell you, I am reinforcing it in me. So that's it's almost like I'm the evidence of hope today, because I've stopped, I've closed the tab, and I'm applying the principle. But that's the only reason I'm not using. It's because I'm applying the principles, I'm making the meetings. So when I make them for me, and the newcomer comes and asks me, how do you keep what you have by giving it away? Going to a meeting with a newcomer, basically I'm taking him, but I'm doing it for me. So that's my take on keeping what I have by giving it away. Because it's gotta be something I'm doing, because in NA, it's all about experience, strength, and hope. It's not what you think, it's how you're doing it. So yeah, that's me, that's my take.
Fantastic, Sabu. Thank you so much. Leon, maybe you just twist the question slightly. Leon's just celebrated 60 days, so he's 65, 66 days. And I think everyone who's been around you, Leon, has just seen the phenomenal transformation in you since you've been completely signed up and committed to this. I just wonder, how do you feel yourself that you are giving this stuff away at the point you are now?
How am I giving it away?
Mm-hmm.
So I feel I'm already, I'm getting younger guys from the recovery centre I go to and stuff like that. I'm getting them into coming to meetings. I'm able to pass back how I found NA, how I actually started to apply the programme, even in early recovery. And it's been beautiful, to be quite honest with you. And just to touch on why the newcomer is the most important person, and why we can only keep what we got by giving it away. That's actually unfolding in this very meeting, that's very setting, because I have a friend, a newcomer, who I've got along to this meeting, and I'm not going to call her out and embarrass her, but she's telling me already that she's blown away with the identification she's getting from hearing people speak. So that's happening right this very, very second. And that's how important it is. It's just that simple, man. So I'm so happy that this person's here and that they're getting something for this meeting. And that's how I'm giving it away, I guess. And in early recovery, I can give little bits away and point people towards NA and how I found it. And I would just advise that to actually, after a while, start getting really committed, because it does work. It seems to be really working for me. So,
Great, Leon. Make sure you get your pal's number so we can get them on the WhatsApp group. Okay, and Chris, you've been waiting patiently for a while. Let's bring in Chris.
Hi, Chris, still an addict, still here. Paul, fucking thank you for chairing this meeting, and again, your meetings are always so varied, so fantastic. So, when a newcomer comes through the door, I still could, like, there was a bit of a wee conversation went on a minute ago about how hazy the line is, how grey the line is as to how long you have to be in the doors to stop becoming a newcomer. And it says to me, like, it's been suggested to me that you're still a newcomer at 4 years. Okay, and you could be a newcomer in a meeting with 10 guys and they've all got multiple years more than you. So even if you've got 4 years in that room, you're the newcomer in that room. But anyway, where we're at is we can only keep what we've got by giving it away. Now, the fact that we're all here today is because 12 months ago, somebody came through the door and done the steps. They got to their 12th, and what does it say in the 12th? Carry the message. So when a newcomer comes through the door, they need to be made to feel welcomed. You have to be mindful that the newcomer's there so that the newcomer can pick up on identification, so they can identify themselves as addicts and learn what they suffer from. And once they've identified and learned what they suffer from, they can pass that on. So it's like you keep what you've got by giving it away. If it wasn't for the newcomer, we wouldn't be able to give it away. We wouldn't keep what we've got, and the next guy, the next newcomer, there wouldn't be a message to be heard. So that's why the newcomer is the most important person at any meeting, because the message has to be continued down the line for centuries to come, for as long as we exist. And if that newcomer isn't made to feel welcome and doesn't get the identification, it'll just keep taking them out the rooms, and the newcomers will get less and less and less, and the message will just stop.
Cool, Chris. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Will we take Rory just now, or do you want to? Yeah, Rory, in you come. Hello, hello.
Good evening, good evening. Hey, Frank, how you doing, guys? Hey, you know what, Paul, I was sent a message from you saying that we was going to have speakers speaking tonight. I don't know if that changed the format.
We've sent out a search party, so we just rejigged the format, Rory.
Oh, I see. Okay. Well, I wasn't sure if this was a speaker meeting or anything like that. I came in a little late, but I did see the message. But Frankie, you know, it's great to hear you expound on your thoughts and study of the word, man, the way you do it. I love it. I know people with 25 years, man, they still keep coming back. I know people that's got 32 years, and some people who didn't come back are not with us after 32 years. Do you know that could happen to any one of us at any moment? That doesn't mean that we got it all together. I'll be honest with you. Keep coming back. You hear that at meetings all the time. Why do they keep saying that? It's that simple, right? Keep coming back. No, it's not that simple, because a lot of us get distracted and we get redirected from our main purpose of trying to arrest this disease. This thing has to be arrested. There's no cure. I didn't want to accept that when I heard that. I say, God can cure anything, right? What? You mean to tell me he will not cure this? No, I think I'm in the wrong meeting, right? So this is the kind of stuff I was thinking about when I was hearing all this stuff when I came in as a newcomer. My sponsor told me this. He says, you keep coming back, not because you can give it away, but because you can keep getting it. That's the deal, ladies and gentlemen. It ain't about how much I know and what I can give you and how you can give it to me. We keep coming back so we can keep getting it. Because you know what? My ego will get in the way some days. Mm-hmm. My personality will kick in. My old self wants to come back. There's an old part of me you guys don't want to see. You wouldn't want to be around me, Paul. I wouldn't want to be around you if I saw the old you trying to get back in, man. There's a part of us that's not right. It's evil. And it has a personality. It's called addiction. It has a personality too. Thank you, guys.
Rory, please,
Frankie. Thanks a lot.
Man. Please
Thanks,
come back.
Rory.
And,
on that note, Paul, I just want to, Rory, you're exactly right what you say. If anyone's seen Drugstore Cowboy or any of the associated films, they make films about us. We have characters as addicts, and it's intrinsic, you know. Just want to say, because after Rory, there's the bit at the end of this paragraph here, and I know I'm a bit like a cat with a laser pen. I know Sandy's got his book out, but it says underneath, it says, we have learned from our group experience that those who keep coming to our meetings regularly, it doesn't say those who keep coming to our meetings, it says from our group experience, those who keep coming to our meetings regularly stay clean. That's why we need groups, and we need to attend on a regular basis. Because if we don't see what happens to the people who fuck up, and we don't get to hear from them. So go on, Paul, hand it back to you. I just wanted to say that on the end of Rory there.
So are we moving on to a different question? Why do we attend meetings regularly? Or are we sticking with
Joanne and Sandy want to answer, and then we'll get another question, yeah?
Okay. Let me just see.
If that's what they want to answer, yeah.
Come in, Joanne, and then Sandy.
It's going to sound completely mental. I've got dual diagnosis. I've got PTSD and I've got addiction. So I can forget literally what the last question was. So I actually genuinely had it in my head. It was about, oh, my head's a bit mad at the moment. It was about, what was the last, there was the last bit paragraph. I remember about the group bit, and the last bit was,
we've learned from our group experience.
oh, the previous bit to that. Previous bit to that.
Oh, the newcomer is the most
yeah, newcomer. So I used to listen to that, right? And I used to think, this is a cult. What the hell is that? I don't understand any of it. You know, what on earth is this? Is this religious church and all that with Ireland and all that crap with the war? So basically what I ended up understanding was that exactly what Chris did it really well with his share. It was amazing because I understood that, like, without the newcomer is the most vulnerable person in the meeting, especially after a relapse. The last thing anybody wants to do is come back in after a relapse, and you have to look at all those faces, and you feel like you've let every single person down. It's just like, oh, whoa, I don't want to go into that room. And it's really and what he said about carrying the message, you know, we wouldn't have NA if it wasn't for the newcomer. The last bit about the group experience, I had a very good friend of mine, you know, one of my good friends I spoke to the other day, she's 12 years clean. She still does regular meetings. And for me personally, you know, I've read, I mean, this is going a little bit off addiction, but I've read Dalai Lama books. I've done a lot of other books. Now, if I think I know it all, I'm absolutely fucked. Yeah. If I think that, you know what, I've done all this, and you know what, I'm feeling a bit okay now, so I don't need to do a few meetings, I'm screwed. But within a week, yeah, now maybe not within a week I'm going to use, but within a week, I'm going to be, you know, running my life on self-will, you know, doing crazy shit. That's within maybe like 4 days, you know, especially if I've got other stress factors in my life, you know, major stress factors, or it could be the little things. So that's how I feel about that. The group contribution, I find it more difficult to share myself, but this meeting I find it easier to share on. It's good. Thank you.
Great,
Thanks, Joanne.
Thank you. And Sandy?
Yeah, thanks for letting me come in. Love what everybody else has shared. I mean, one that sticks out for me in particular, when the newcomer comes in, it does help remind me of what I quickly want to forget, is the pain. You know, and that trembling feeling of feeling hopeless, and you know, I want to forget quickly. You know, overdoses, being in hospitals. You know, the fresh traumas. You know, I've got life stuff, and I've got old traumas that supersede it, and I quickly want to forget, you know, where I've came from, you know, within a period of getting some abstinence, you know, and it's a fresh reminder of where we all came in the door, you know. But like I said, for me, it was a disease of forgetfulness as well. Not, you know, not wanting to remember, you know, my worst day, where it seems to help remembering the last time that I went through that hospitalization, that pain, and you know, the shame. And you know, that's my point. You know, just I wanted to quickly forget so I could move on in life. You know, and the newcomer helps remind me, you know, where I came in the door. Yeah,
Thanks,
that was my point. Yeah,
brilliant. Thank you.
Just to point out to everyone, just as Joanne and Sandy have been sharing, people's heads go boom. So let's get Dexter in, and then we'll have a new question.
Okay, Dexter, you're up, matey.
Hello, family. My name is Dexter. I'm an addict. My thought on newcomer being the most important person, I learned to empathize with that person, and that allowed me to feel a feeling that I don't mind. And so therefore, you know, I tend to want to love that person, and in turn, it helps me with being serious about my own recovery program. So that's my share. Thanks for letting me share.
Thank you, Dexter.
Thank you, Dexter. The next one we're going to go to is we're going to turn the page over to page 10. And as you can see on mine, it's most of the way down. It's on the last paragraph down here. but I'll read the paragraph previous. Okay, on page 10, it's the third paragraph I'm going to read, which is Narcotics Anonymous has many years of experience with literally hundreds of thousands of addicts. This first-hand experience in all phases of illness. So there's phases of illness and recovery. Phases of recovery is quite clearly was mentioned earlier. I was always told that when you get to 5 years clean, you hear the pop. I didn't believe it, but it happened to me. And it's a South London thing, they say, and it's you hear the pop because your head comes out your ass, right? Now it says the illness and recovery of an unparalleled therapeutic value. You know, the therapeutic value of one addict helping another. We are here to share freely with any addict who wants to recover. Okay, and the question comes in the form of our message of recovery is based on our experience. So the question is, why do we share our experience? Please, can we have people who haven't put their hand up previously?
Okay, why do we share our experience, folks? Who wants to come in? I'm looking at Tam, I'm looking at May, I'm looking at Alan.
Don't forget the committee.
Oh, Matt, yeah. Matt's been dodging these. Okay, let's go Jericho, while the others are thinking about putting their hands up. Hey, Martin.
Hi, Paul. Hi, Frankie. It's very last year my experience, because my experience is now my best asset. You know, I lived that experience. I lived the horrors, you know, so I need to keep that as a reminder for myself, what I can get back to if I don't keep my eye on the game here, you know. And so I can use that as an asset now going forward for me. I never want to get back there, and it's a time of reminder how bad things were. So that's how my experience is very important to me. But hang on, other boys want to come in as well. Just
Right, I'm Danny. I'm an addict. Why do we share our experience? Similar to what Martin said, so I could use it as my best asset. I can break the power of it. Stuff that I thought I would take to the grave with me. You know, it's breaking that power of it. It's also helping other people get identification, moving away from self and helping others. It's also by sharing my experience to people who have also got experience. They can maybe give me a solution in their experience and how they got through certain problems, how they dealt with certain situations, how they got rid of resentments, etc., etc. And so sharing experience is so important. It could help me and it helps other people. That's what I got from it, Paul. Cheers.
Amazing, Danny. Thank you. And May, would you like to come in?
Thanks, Paul. Hi, family. My name's May. I'm an addict. Hi, everyone. Thank you for doing this, man. I popped on, and yeah, this is great, you know. And thanks, Frankie, for leading. And for me, and I always have that thing. Oh, I've forgotten about recovery, and I forgot about the step work. You know, the disease comes in, and it's like, nah. For me, it's a spiritual thing. You know, only an addict can help an addict. You spoke about the therapeutic value. You know, we say we don't give advice. You know, we share because we've been there. We know how to get out of there. It's like that story of the addict in a hole, and the other addict comes along and gets into the hole, and the addict says, "Why did you get in here?" And the other addict said, "I found a way out." You know, and for me, it's a spiritual thing. And I just want to quickly touch on, we keep what we have by giving away, also a spiritual thing. If I want to get more, I've got to give. That's how it works, you know, and it treats the self-centeredness. So that's what I've got. Thank you.
Brilliant, May. Thank you. We'll go to Alan and then Tam.
Hi, Alan, Addicts. Thanks.
Hi, Alan.
For hosting this. Thanks, Frankie, for doing this. Yeah. I've completely forgotten what I was going to say. That's it. If I hadn't heard, I spent so long trying to find connection with somebody, that if I hadn't heard people share my story in a meeting, I wouldn't have stayed. It was the common ground, kind of let me know that I was in the right place, and that I wasn't on my own anymore. It ties into what into kind of, we can only keep what we have by giving away. Is that if people hadn't given away their hard-won experience, then I wouldn't have found out and come to a place to accept that I am an addict and that I need NA, because on my own clearly wasn't working. And yeah, finding that connection with other people, because for me that's what NA is about. It's connecting with yourself and connecting with other people, and I can't do either of them on my own. So yeah, you need to share it.
Thank you, Alan. Right, we've got 5 hands up, so we'll go to Tam, and we haven't heard from Matt, and then we'll get the other boys. And if you want to keep going, or we'll go whatever you want, Frankie, with a different question. But let's go to Tam in the meantime.
Thanks, Paul. Thanks for hosting tonight. Very versatile, making it a literature meeting. Very good. I enjoy literature meetings because that's how I recover. That's where I get my growth and sharing experience. And I remember I came into Narcotics Anonymous, and they says this is a talking illness, and it's about your feelings and emotions and how you cope with them. And I says that's a lot of shite. That's a lot of rubbish. And I had to stick about and understand it a bit more. So it's a talking illness, this. And if I be quiet and I keep things to myself, I'm running on Tam again. I'm running back on Tam, and Tam gets himself in a whole lot of trouble. And that therapeutic value. There's various aspects of why experience gets shared, in my opinion, and it's just my feeble opinion. It's no right or no wrong. It instills faith, it instills hope, it instills no matter what. I do need to pick up, because people have went through similar experiences to me. There's that saying in Narcotics Anonymous, you'll hear somebody sharing, and you think they're talking about yourself. You hear your own story in Narcotics Anonymous. So there's loads of different aspects that all kind of lead into each other type of thing within our literature. It's very intelligently written. I must say that it really is. Yeah, so that's about me, Paul. Yep.
Great, Tam. Lovely to see you tonight. Lovely to see you in the meetings as always. Okay, Sir Matthew of Blair, would you like to come in?
Thanks, Paul, and thanks for Frankie for taking this. Yeah, our message of recovery is based on our experience. So in addiction, I was the centre of the universe, you know? It was my thinking, and it made me feel like there was something wrong with me. So coming in and hearing other people having the same experience and be able to identify with that, it pushed it out of me. There wasn't something wrong with me. I have a disease, you know? So I'm able then to kind of grow from that. And if my thinking got me into addiction, listening to other people's experience about the recovery seems to be the only way to kind of go. I can't rely on my own thinking when it comes to recovery. You said it before, Frank, it's a we program, you know? I need to learn from you guys on how to do this properly. So yeah, I'll pass it back.
Nice one, Matt.
Thanks, Matt. Paul, I'll jump in
before
we take the other guys, and we'll change the question as well. So let's give Sabu, Rory and Dexter a hot potato, yeah? What I wanted to say was our message of recovery is based on our experience. If I tell you what I did to get well or to recover, this may work for you. Not saying it's going to. It may work for you. And that's what we do. We keep listening for the people who we believe may be able to, who we can identify with and may get some recovery from them. Don't ever be afraid to walk up to someone in NA and ask them, what did you do? How did you do that? What did you do? Because that's what we do. We don't actually have enough of it. If you look at the green and gold, it works out why. It starts off telling us that it's a discussion book. We have to discuss this. It's not all of us sharing about our life stories or how treatment shaped us with that therapeutic speak. This is about, this is what I did. It could possibly work for you. And this thing where it's based on our message, based on recoveries, based on our experience, you can't fuck your share up. One thing about addicts, right, where we can make mistakes, and we do, but one of the main things about us is, because most addicts we meet, we're not necessarily educated, but we're highly intelligent, and we have a bullshit detector in us. It's really easy for us to tell fucking bullshit when people are talking bullshit. So when we talk from our experience, we talk from the heart. We talk from, you know, what actually happened for us. And that truth is what makes us connect. That's the love of the program. When we get to the love part, we learn to connect. Right, so just to drop the hot potato on Dexter, Rory and Sabu, the next one on the last paragraph here on the page 10, the only requirement for membership is a desire to stop using. Why? Why?
Dexter,
why is the only requirement for membership the desire to stop using and not service? Not traditional heaven.
Sorry, my name is Doc. I'm an addict. Frankie gave an excellent that sure was excellent. So right on the point of which I was gonna say the same thing. Sharing my experience, strength, and hope is so that someone else could get to know who I am. I'm practicing open-mindedness to the best of my ability. And like you said, they're gonna get to know me better than I know myself. Maybe. That's how I see it. Somebody else is able to see me better than I see myself, and they're gonna pick out my bull crap. Yes. So I must allow them to know me first, and then we can move on through the process. And the last part there you was talking about, repeat it for me. I have short-term memory. Repeat what your last reading was.
No problem.
I had something to say.
Dexter, you must have been one of them drug addicts and burnt some brain cells up. Yeah. The question,
and I take ownership for that.
The question was, the only requirement for membership is a desire to stop using. Why?
Thank you.
Why?
Why? Because we're gonna bullshit our way through for the first little bit, anyways. But you know, I like acceptance. I like you gonna tell me if I seem to think you like me, I'm gonna keep coming back. But you'll understand the reason why you're here. If you just keep coming back. The purpose of this program is find a desire to not use. You know what I mean? And that's what I had to share. Thanks for letting me share.
Thanks, Dexter. Okay, can we bring in Rory? You got a minute, Rory? There you go.
Hey, I'm trying to get my phone is acting up here, Paul.
Okay.
Just a minute.
We can hear you, Rory.
We can hear you though. Actually, you sort that out, Rory, and we'll bring in Sabu, and then we'll come back to Rory. Sabu.
Yeah, boy, yes. We'll edit. Wow, what a question! I love the question because the desire, without it, we called, in our literature it says we're doomed. I've met many addicts in my life who couldn't have the desire because of denial, I would say. This is just my thinking. So when we say the only requirement is that for membership is the desire to stop using, for me, it simply reminds me that reality is you can analyze us, you can reason, you can beat me up, a lot of things have happened to me that should have stopped me, but without that desire, I was doomed. So the requirement being the desire for me to be a member, it simplifies it. It allows me, because I have to work it for me. I have to want it. Many people need recovery, but it's only for those who want it. I gotta be a seeker. So those who seek it, I suppose, because the basis of my recovery is the desire. It's what I'm looking for. So I think that's why Narcotics Anonymous says the desire is for those who really, those are the ones who get it. That's just my take on it. Thanks.
Lovely, Sabu. Love that. Let's try Rory now.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Frankie. Great stuff, man. You know, a lot of this comes from so many people come to the rooms. Well, you know, I've done I just do a Vicodin, or I'm a heroin addict, or, you know, I don't know if I belong here. And I drink a lot of alcohol too. So I don't know if I belong here. But I'm gonna tell you something, man. An addict who comes to the rooms probably have done a lot of stuff, man. Probably have tried so many things just to get out of their head because they have a desire to stay loaded instead of desire to stay clean. What would make a person get to the point where they want to stop everything because they're tired? They're tired. And what would keep people out of the rooms? Difference of opinion, personality issues. You don't belong here. You might need to go to, OCD or DDA, or, you know, you don't belong here. But if you have a desire to think that you might be an addict, that's all it takes, man. There's no really qualifications for a lot of us who think we're a little bit better than anybody else. It's hard to even get a desire to say, I'm coming to an end of myself. I need help. It's hard to get to that point to have a desire. And by the way, guess what? When we share our experience, strength, and hope, we're not trying to educate you. We're really trying to be sincere with ourselves and make sure we don't forget the truth about where we come from. Because sometimes we can forget what we really came out of, you know? And it's good to share our experience and strength and hope for somebody else, man. And finally, what comes from the heart can reach the heart. If it's not coming from the heart, if it's not being genuine, it's hard to reach anybody and give them hope and give them some help, man. So we speak from our heart. I love it, Frank. Thank you, Frank.
Thank you, Rory. From the head to the heart, mate. Thank you.
We continue with this one?
Yeah, let's do Joanne and then we do Trish, and we'll draw a line because I want to move it into a different area just to bring some people in who probably haven't spoken.
Yeah, that would be really cool if those of you that haven't had a chance to speak, you know, or are shy, you know, there's nothing to be, you know, worried about. Just come in and share with us. Okay, Joanne, over to you.
Do you want me to wait? I can wait.
No.
Okay.
Keep going.
Okay, I found this really, really good. I find this meeting really, really helpful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the meeting. The only requirement for membership is the desire to stop using. So I went into addiction. I knew that I was an addict, right? But I kind of knew, but there was a huge part of me that was like, I don't want to be an addict. Who wants to be an addict? Who the hell wants to be called a junkie, you know, and all the shit that goes with it? So I was like, you know, reading the book, kind of identifying, but not letting anyone know I identify, hitting it, coming out of meetings, getting shit-faced, you know, back in the car, all the madness that came with it. And I thought I'd go to the meetings and they'd tell me how to control my using. I was like, what? You know, I don't have to give up. You know what? This is, maybe I can get a few tips here, you know, on how to use, or maybe I could just use on a weekend, or maybe I could change the drug up, or maybe I could just have vodka. Maybe I could just have a little bit of crack. Maybe I could just have like a little bit of heroin, and just, you know, I went from cannabis to crack. You know, who the fuck does that? Only a fucking paddy. I mean, Jesus fucking Christ. It's not really very fucking funny when you've lost everything, you know, and the tragedies that happen. But it was good tonight. Someone said, yeah, you can't change the past, but I like that. You can't, I don't want to change the subject. But we can only use today, that just for today and the future, you know, and what we can do about it, and do our step forwards and our amends and all of that.
30 seconds, Joanne.
Yeah. So basically, all I wanted to say was that, the message, you know, what, I've lost the bleeding page. I don't know where it was, refugees, I forget. I don't know.
Great, thanks, Joanne.
Thanks, Joanne. Do you have Trish?
Trish? Hey, Trish.
Hey, how you doing?
Good to see you.
Yeah, I'm just kind of floating around the house here, just varnished the top of my table, so I'm not high. My son did come in and say, "Ma, you really don't want to be doing that." I'm only joking. But yeah, I just happened to be listening into the meeting. I had you guys on loudspeaker and was staying in the top of my kitchen table here, and it was really cool to be listening in, you know. So I'm very opinionated. I have a lot of opinions. I've been kind of around a long time, and I'm thinking I'm not going to get into any kind of, you know, well, no, I don't think so, and I did all of that. I'm not going to get into anything there at all, but this one there just really resonates with me, because that gives the paradox of, obviously, it gives autonomy to any individual to come in here and to feel like they belong. Do you know what I mean? Because there is no qualification needed. There is no, you don't have to be good looking, you don't have to be tall, you don't have to be anything. You just have to have a desire to get clean. And that is what this program is about. It's only, you know, the whole core purpose is to arrest our addiction and to get some sort of a light. Do you know what I mean? So the simplicity of just keeping it to that the only thing I need to stay here is a desire. And I may be around years, I might mess up, and I may not be working my program as well as I like, and or as well as I need to, or anything else. But that's not necessarily to say that I can't belong anymore, or that I have to leave, and nobody will ever. And in all the years I've been here, I've never turned anybody away from meeting, never been turned away from meeting. Yeah, and just allow people to feel that connection with that desire to get clean and stay clean and belong, you know, because let's face it, we didn't belong anywhere. Well, I certainly didn't.
Thank you, Trish. That's great. Thanks for your input. Thank you.
The question, Paul, is how much time do we have?
We've got a couple of minutes.
We've got a couple of minutes, because 2 bits I want to read.
Yeah.
And what I'd like to do, if anyone can formulate a question, not do a share, can formulate a question, and any questions you want to put across, and maybe I'll answer, and maybe some of the committee can answer. And we'll end it with that tonight. If anyone's thought of anything that we may have missed. First off, what meetings are. Closed meetings are for addicts who think they might have a problem, might have a drug problem. Closed meetings are for addicts or those who think they might have a drug problem. Open meetings welcome anyone wishing to experience our fellowship. Doesn't mean they can share, but tonight this was an open meeting. Anyone can come along to this meeting. We don't have to qualify you, because what we're doing here is we just open up for identification. That's the sole purpose of this meeting, is for identification tonight. It's not a workshop. It's just for identification and us sharing our experience. The last bit, where is he? Just make sure Sandy's still in line. On the last, the very last part of what is the NA program, it says, many books have been written about the nature of addiction. This book concerns itself with the nature of recovery. If you're an addict and have found this book, please give yourself a break and read it. The only other time, just to show how geeky I am and to show off, the only other time you get that is when you've got the blue jacket on the book and it's written on the inside, you know? So with that, sorry, I just lost my train of thought there. With that, the only people who read textbooks are students. It's a basic textbook. It's a textbook. Textbooks are to be studied. If you're new in recovery, please get hold of a basic textbook and have a look at it. You might find it's actually your autobiography. So, Paul, do you want to sort some questions?
Yeah. If it's particularly for those who maybe haven't had a chance to speak tonight, but of course this is open to anyone.
I'm not sure, yeah.
Is there, Margaret, so is there anything that's come up for you tonight? Is there any kind of, we'll keep it to a minute each. Is there any feedback? Is there anything you maybe want to ask Frankie directly about his own experience? Anything at all? And we'll maybe take a few minutes to do this. So Margaret, you're up first.
Thank you, Paul. The one thing I'm really struggling with is the identification thing. So I realize that I'm really early on in the process, and I realize I've got a lot to learn and I've got the steps to do, and I'm hoping that with doing that work and working the program that it's just a denial thing. But at the moment, I feel it's like a really, really big obstacle to the whole thing, because I'm constantly seeing differences. I'm not identifying, I'm not relating, I'm not connecting with what people are saying, with the shares, with the stories. And I feel like it's really causing a block for me. And I don't know how to get over that at this point in time.
Okay, so before we answer that, okay, can we just try something? If you identify, will you raise your hand? Doesn't matter whether you do it on, yeah. Can you see that? I've got 5 people there, Margaret, identifying with you. Me, myself. When I came into the meeting, you know, yeah, there's more people. When I came into the meeting, I thought, what the fuck are these lot talking about? I wouldn't even use with them, you know, so, you know, it's that everybody kind of goes through that same process. The best way for myself to get over that, and let someone else answer this as well, the best way myself to get over that was to get involved with service. Doesn't make sense, but that's what worked for me. And maybe it could work for you. So thank you.
Okay, thanks.
So we've had Joanne a few times. Hang on, Joanne, let's just see if anybody else wants to.
Anyone who hasn't
had a chance to anything at all, anything that might have come up for you tonight, because listen, I'm onto this guy for about 2 hours every day, drilling him with questions. So what about this? What about that? That doesn't make sense. So trust me, while he's here.
Anything you got, Paul? Can you think of any questions?
I thought of something earlier, actually. You know, so when you were sharing at the beginning, and you talked about coming for 10 years and coming out and in, out and in, pretty much my experience, but I don't think I've been able to pinpoint to myself the difference. Not exactly, not scientifically. Do you have a thought on why 18 years ago you fully conceded, or whatever happened, made a decision, or surrender, and previous to that you couldn't get it because you were doing the service, you were doing the conventions, you were doing the steps? What was the big change 18 years ago?
Well, I relapsed. I went to treatment. At 30 days in treatment, I smuggled my girlfriend in, got caught, got thrown out of treatment center number 8. So I knew that something wasn't right. And I understood that I needed to be brainwashed. I really understood that. I needed to be brainwashed. So because I'd been fucking up for such a long period of time, I had to live and breathe this stuff. I gave away my television. I only went to meetings. I read the literature, and I brainwashed myself and became a complete lunatic. If you know anybody who knows me when I was 2 years clean, I think Steve might have been around then, but anyone who knows me when I was 2 years clean, I was to be avoided. I wasn't pleasant. All I could spit was recovery. I was a complete fucking recovery lunatic. My family still didn't want to know me. But what the but part, which isn't bullshit, is I brainwashed myself with recovery, and it's taken me quite a long time to understand that my life's more than recovery. Recovery, if you like, I say this to Paul quite a bit, recovery is the insulin to diabetic. I come here and it gives me a new way to live. Now I've got money in the bank. I've been married for quite a few years, you know. I've got grandchildren. They think I'm the best granddad in the world. You know, I've got a dog who loves me unconditionally. You know, I live a really healthy lifestyle. Everything's become good. But I had to brainwash myself and go through a process. Recovery's a process, a bit like what Margaret was saying at the beginning. where you think, I can't get, how do I identify with these people? I can remember being in a treatment centre with a young woman who reminds me of May, who is really beautiful. And I said, I don't want to talk to her because didn't think I had anything in common. And NA's now taught me to connect with everybody. I've now learned to speak to people like Stefan from France, and, you know, the Americans I still find difficult, but, you know, besides that, you know, I can relate to most people. NA's taught me to do that. Before that, I was colloquial and very narrow-minded. And as Usman once said, I've taken my blinkers off and I've brainwashed myself, and I'm the product that I'm actually happy in my life, and that's all I want. Health and happiness is all I want. So I hope that answered something, Paul. A bit long-winded, but I had to brainwash myself with recovery, knowing that I'll forget the recovery, but I've got a great way of living now.
Okay, I think that's a good way to end it. Thank you, Frankie. Thank you, everyone, for taking part tonight. I think it was a really valuable session. Great. I mean, it was interactive. It was workshopy. I think there was a lot of information exchanged.
And thanks to Sabu and, you know, Dexter and Rory from coming and visiting, and Stefan from visiting, and all you other guys who are here in the United Kingdom. You know, thank you.
Yeah,
thanks for making this meet. It's all about us.
We should do more of these. We were doing them before last year. We were doing them every second Wednesday, but we were just drawing so much on Frankie's time. But it was great that the way things turned out tonight. And Frankie, I don't know if Aaron's still here. He was in.
He's been in and out, Aaron.
He's been in and out,
police. Yeah. He's been in and out. A bit like what Stefan said. Yeah. You guys are the most important people in any meeting you attend. Seriously, the newcomer might be the most important person to share the message to, but we can't make the meetings without you guys.
Yeah, beautiful.
You know, I know I'm the most important person in any meeting I'll go to. You know.
Wonderful. Thank you, guys. Thank you, everyone. Thanks. Special thanks to Frankie. Shall we just unmute everyone to thank Frankie personally? I think that'd be nice, Matt. Shall we do that?
Cheers, Frankie. Thank you, Frankie.
Thank you very much.
Good information. Good information.
That was
brilliant,
man.
Switch it up, Frankie. Keeps it.
Yeah, can I just leave with just one thing? Please find a really difficult question and ask your sponsor, or ask someone. If you don't have a sponsor, someone with shitloads of clean time, go up to them and say, what does spirituality mean?
Challenge, I think is what Frankie's saying. Go around challenging people or interrogating them, maybe. they'll soon avoid you. Right, okay, brilliant. Thank you, Frankie. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Matt, for your service tonight, and Alison, and thank you for everyone for being here. I think we got 2 readings. We got the Jericho boys do the Just for Today because that's their official service position here. But I think we've got We Do Recover, which we promised to Sandy at the beginning. So Sandy, if you do We Do Recover. Hang on a sec. There we go. Thanks, Matt.
Okay, I'm Sonny. I'm an addict. Very grateful to be here tonight. Thanks everybody for participating and making me welcome. Sonny, an addict. We do recover. When at the end of the road, we find that we can no longer function as a human being, either with or without drugs. We all face the same dilemma. What is there left to do? There seems to be this alternative, either go on as best we can to the bitter ends, jails, institutions, or death, or find a new way to live. In years gone by, very few addicts ever had this last choice. Those who are addicted today are more fortunate. For the first time in man's entire history, a simple way has been proving itself in the lives of many addicts. It is available to us all. It is a simple, spiritual, not religious program known as Narcotics Anonymous. Thanks for letting me read.
Great, Sandy. And we will open up the chat at the end if anybody wants to exchange information. And Jericho boys, can you read Just for Today, please?
Right, I'm Paul, I'm an addict.
Hey, Paul.
Just for today, tell yourself.
Just for today.
My thoughts will be on my recovery, living and enjoying life without the use of drugs.
Just for today.
I will have faith in someone in any who believes in me and wants to help me in my recovery.
Just for today.
I will have a program. I will try to follow it to the best of my ability.
Just for today.
Through NA, I will try to get a better perspective on my life.
Just for today.
I will be unafraid. My thoughts will be on my new associates, people who are not using and who have found a new way of life.
So long as I follow that way, I have nothing to
fear. Brilliant, guys. You make it. You guys all make it. Okay, remember our 12th tradition. Who you see here, what you hear here, when you leave here, please let it stay here. Gossip is very damaging. And I'm looking. May, would you be kind enough to close the meeting for us with this? Shall we do the wee version of the Serenity Prayer? And everyone can unmute now if you want to join in, I think.
Yeah, it would be an absolute honour. Thanks, Paul. Hi, my name's May. I'm an addict.
You may.
Could we have a moment of silence to remember why we are here and for the still sick and suffering addict who hasn't made it to our rooms yet? Prayer. God.
Grant us
accept things we cannot change, the courage to change the things we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Amen. Coming back, it works, you work as your life, and these are all work.
Thanks, Paul.
Thanks very much, everybody.
Although there is one thing I'm going to say, so I thank Frankie R from London. I want to thank him from the bottom of my heart. That guy is going to be helping newcomers and old timers and buying them basic texts because of this convention. He's going to be buying them. It's like, wow. You know? This book